In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 11 really easy steps you can take to reverse insulin resistance. These are going to be small tweaks you can make to your diet and lifestyle that are going to have a big impact. So even if you can only implement 1 or 2 of these tips, you're going to see improvements to your insulin resistance and also the associated diseases such as PCOS and hypertension. Insulin resistance is a condition that is at the root of most modern day diseases. Signs that you are insulin resistant include having a lot of abdominal fat, skin tags, and difficulty losing weight. But the good news is that insulin resistance is caused by diet and lifestyle, and it can be reversed. So in today's video, we are going to be going over 11 easy steps you can take to reverse insulin resistance. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a health coach and I post videos on a high-fat, nutrient-dense way of eating. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, feel free to share, and make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook where I share new posts every single day. Today's video is sponsored by 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙍𝙀. 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙍𝙀 is a meat delivery service that delivers 100% grass-fed and pasture-raised meat and wild-caught salmon and seafood Australia-wide. They have a wide range of boxes to choose from, and they also offer the option to build your own. I will tell you a little bit more about 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙍𝙀 later in this video, but if you want to check them out, you can head to healthcoachkate.com/𝘾𝙊𝙍𝙀. Okay, so like I said at the start of this video, if you can only implement a couple of the tips that we talk about today, those can still make a big difference. But with that being said, let's get straight into the tips. Number 1, go on a 10-minute walk after eating. When you eat a meal, especially one that is high in carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. And it is insulin's job to take the excess sugar from your blood to your cells so they can use it for energy. However, when we are insulin resistant, our cells start to reject the signals from insulin and they don't take in this sugar efficiently. Now, when we go for a walk after eating, this allows our muscles to use the energy straight away without the need for insulin. And this helps with insulin resistance because you want to keep your insulin low. When your insulin is low, this allows your cells to become more sensitive to it once again. Number 2, don't eat naked carbs. Carbohydrates are the macronutrient that spikes blood sugar the most. And the spike is even more significant when we eat carbs in isolation. So eating a banana on its own, for example, results in a spike in blood sugar and a need for a lot of insulin in response. And again, we want to keep our insulin as low as possible when we are trying to reverse insulin resistance. By pairing foods that are rich in carbohydrates with foods that are rich in fat and protein, this can significantly lower the blood sugar and insulin response. And this can be as easy as having some Greek yogurt with your banana, or maybe some nut butter. But avoiding eating carbohydrates in isolation is really key for reversing insulin resistance. Number 3, eat 30 grams of protein at every meal. This ties in with tip number 2 about not eating carbs naked. If we eat protein at every meal, our blood sugar response will be much lower. However, there is also another reason why you want to prioritize protein, and that is because of the role it plays in satiety. The protein leverage hypothesis states that we will eat until our protein requirements are met. So even if we are eating a lot of carbs and fat, if we are not eating enough protein, we will continue to eat beyond our energy needs. And we see this when we've finished a meal, are absolutely stuffed, but we continue to pick at the French fries. This could be because we didn't eat enough protein. When we eat enough protein at our meals, we are less hungry throughout the rest of the day. Now, before we move on to the rest of the tips, I'm quickly going to tell you about how today's sponsor, 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙍𝙀, can help you to meet your protein goals to reverse insulin resistance. 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙍𝙀 is an Australian meat delivery service that makes getting high-quality, sustainable meat and seafood easy. And even better is that they deliver straight to your door. They offer 100% grass-fed beef and lamb, pasture-raised chicken and pork, wild salmon, and wild Australian seafood. And you guys, animal protein plays a really big part in reversing insulin resistance. Plant protein just doesn't cut it. And this is because protein from foods such as beans and legumes comes with too many carbohydrates, which are counterproductive to insulin resistance. It is difficult to get enough protein, avoiding animal products, to reach true satiety. So 1 cup of lentils, for example, has 18 grams of protein, but 40 grams of carbohydrates. And yes, as previously mentioned, by pairing carbohydrates with protein and fat, this does lower the blood sugar response, but it still really is difficult to get enough protein without your carbs being through the roof, which is one of the reasons why I think animal protein is superior. The other reason is that animal protein is considered to be a complete protein source, meaning that it contains all the essential amino acids our bodies need and in balanced amounts. Beans and legumes are considered to be incomplete protein because none of them contain adequate amounts of all the amino acids. Every month my Butcher Crowd delivery comes flash frozen. I put it in my chest freezer and take it out when I need to defrost the night before. With Butcher Crowd, I can feel confident knowing that I am getting the best quality meat from ethically raised animals. As mentioned before, they offer free shipping Australia-wide. Their shipping is certified carbon neutral and their packaging is 100% recyclable. If you want to check them out, you can head to healthcoachkate.com/butchercrowd and use code KATE15 to save 15% off your order. Thank you again to Butcher Crowd for sponsoring this video. Number 4, eat carbs last. Now, this is another tip for if you're going to be having, let's say, something like potatoes or rice with your meal. Eat these foods at the end. This means eating the protein, fat, and fiber portion of your meal first. So if you're having a steak, broccoli, and potatoes, for example, save the potatoes for last. And you don't have to wait any significant amount of time before you eat the starches, but by having them last, the blood sugar and insulin response will be much lower. Number 5, take apple cider vinegar before meals. This is another hack for lowering the blood sugar and insulin response to a meal, again, especially if you're having a few more carbohydrates. Consuming apple cider vinegar before a meal significantly lowers the blood sugar and insulin response. It has this effect because vinegar increases the speed at which our muscles can soak up glucose. And even taking it in the morning or before bed, studies have shown that taking it at these times reduces fasting blood sugar in type 2 diabetics. And this really is as easy as diluting 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water and drinking it. Number 6, lift weights. Building muscle is another way to help reverse insulin resistance. As mentioned earlier, when we are insulin resistant, our cells are having difficulty taking in glucose. But if we have more muscle, we have more room to store it. This is because our muscles are where most glucose is stored in the body. So if you have more muscle, you have more space for excess glucose to be stored, and this can help you to reverse insulin resistance. Number 7, stop snacking. This one ties in with tip number 3 about eating enough protein. If you eat enough protein at your meals, you will have less of an urge to snack in between. And this is a good thing, because if you can eat fewer times during the day, less insulin will be needed, which again is beneficial for reversing insulin resistance. Number 8, intermittent fast. And if you want to take it one step further, you can incorporate intermittent fasting into your routine. Intermittent fasting is a way of eating where you cycle between periods of fasting and eating. Generally, intermittent fasting is structured where you have a set amount of time in each of these 2 states. For example, 16-8 means you spend 16 hours in a fasted state and you only eat within an 8-hour window. Usually this means stopping eating around 6 to 8 p.m. and starting eating the next day around 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this tip is pretty straightforward. If you're not eating, then there's not really a need for insulin and your insulin remains really low. And intermittent fasting doesn't have to be extreme. Yes, 16-8 is a popular variation. However, fasting anywhere from 12 to 18 hours, I find is the sweet spot for most people. Longer is not always better. If you can aim for 12, that's fantastic. That is going to help a lot. And I actually have another video on finding your perfect fasting window, which I will link above. That might help you out if you don't know where to start. Number 9, eat low carb. Now, you might have noticed a reoccurring theme in this video, and that is that carbohydrates can be counterproductive to reversing insulin resistance. And yes, I have outlined several strategies in this video for how you can eat them and lower the insulin response, but limiting them in general can really be effective. Generally, less than 100 grams of total carbs in a day is considered low carb, and less than 50 grams in a day is considered to be keto. Both can be very effective, but of course, limiting them more can yield faster results. Number 10, prioritize sleep. And finally, number 10 is to prioritize sleep. So many people take sleep for granted, but the reality is sleep is so important. And even one night of poor sleep can make us temporarily insulin resistant the next day. Of course, this is a problem for someone who isn't usually insulin resistant. Their insulin sensitivity will go back to normal when they get adequate sleep again. But for someone who is already insulin resistant or working to improve their sensitivity, sleep is so important. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. So a quick summary. Number 1, take a 10-minute walk after eating. Number 2, don't eat naked carbs. Number 3, eat 30 grams of protein at every meal. Number 4, eat carbs last. Number 5, take apple cider vinegar before meals. Number 6, lift weights. Number 7, stop snacking. Number 8, intermittent fast. Number 9, eat low carb. And number 10, prioritize sleep. Let me know in the comment section down below which of these tips you are going to try first. I love chatting with you guys in the comments section. I try to answer as many of you guys as I can right after I post the video, so come say hi. And if you are in Australia, make sure to check out Butcher Crowd. I will put the link to check them out in the description box down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on how to test for insulin resistance at home. I will link it right here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my keto diet and carnivore diet coaching programs, you can find those here. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.